judge read the tweet. And you're just left asking, what the hell are they doing in the White House? Like, their job, like I said, is to clean up the mess that OMB made, not to make a new one.
Yeah, but I think the through line here is that because they don't want to offer up any optics that would suggest that Donald Trump isn't displaying strength, or that they did something that was wrong, or that they did something that would ultimately be blocked, they have to continue to convey this idea that they were always correct all along. And so if they said there was a freeze, then they're going to double and triple and quadruple down, even if it screws over their own lawyers who are arguing the exact opposite thing in court at that very moment.
Right, but here though they had another option, right? Because Donald Trump is both selfish and wants to appear strong. And so the normal move I would have expected here would be someone at OMB did that? We got no idea who that was. I mean, OMB put out a memo, like, wasn't us.
Diffuse responsibility. Right? He's a pro at that.
I mean, kind of, that's usually the move. So I kind of think you're right. Here, the press secretary thought that she could have it both ways. I think she thought that she could tweet like a position of strength and sort of say, well, yeah, OMB's action was blocked, but not ours. And like nobody would notice. And well, welcome to Washington, D.C. and good lawyering, because that's not how it's going to work.
Honestly, I'm just surprised that she didn't ultimately blame DEI at the end of the day.
Just
Mark,
wait.
I know that,
just wait.
Just wait. There's still time. Yeah, I know. There are a lot of people across the country. I have my own friends who are wondering about the status of these federal grants because they rely on it for their jobs or their incomes. What is the status now as the result of this decision by Judge McConnell in Rhode Island? What is the status of this federal freeze as of right now then?
Okay, so look, the federal freeze has been frozen. In other words, there is no federal freeze. This is now the second federal judge who has told this administration this. Once with respect to the OMB original memo, now with respect to what we were just talking about, that there cannot be a freeze. Now, what is disturbing is that there are some indications that the people in the administration may just say, you know what, we don't understand court orders and we're not going to follow them. Now, again, I'm not sure that that's what's going to happen. I hope for the sake of the people who are not named Donald Trump, who, he may have immunity from prosecution, but lower level officials don't, that they do not test the resolve of the federal judiciary to see that their orders are followed, because that will be a rather ugly affair. But, you never know with these groups of jokers whether they think that somehow they can play it cute and try to evade this order.
But to that point then, I want to game this out because, to be perfectly honest, more likely than not, they continue to do illegal things, knowing that, okay, worst case scenario, it gets blocked. Best case scenario, they're able to get one through. So really, at the end of the day, every win they can notch here is just gravy. They don't lose anything by virtue of trying. So let's say that they continue to try and implement these freezes after a judge has now twice ruled that it's not allowed. What happens next?
Yeah, it's worse than that. It's not just a judge has ruled twice. Two different judges have ruled. Right? They've got trouble in two different courthouses right now if they violate this order. And look, I understand the threat and the risk here, and it's why I raised it. And I raised it cautiously because, as a lawyer, we are taught from literally the first day of law school that, the executive branch executes the law, the Congress passes the law, and the judiciary, determines what the law is, and each branch has to sort of respect the other. Well, Donald Trump has shown no respect for the legislative branch. I mean, it is remarkable that we sit here today and he controls Congress, and yet he's not trying to do any of this legislatively. I mean, right? We'd be in a whole different game here if he had sent to Speaker Johnson a bill to give him this authority. Right. And they had passed this, right?
Which, by the way, they would do. This is a Congress that's contracted every ounce of their dignity to Donald Trump anyway. They'd be glad to do whatever he tells them to do.
Absolutely right. So I understand that, having rolled over the legislative branch, they may think they can roll over the judicial branch. But there is real jeopardy here. Again, not necessarily for Donald Trump, because Donald Trump, we all know, thanks to the U.S. Supreme Court, enjoys at least criminal immunity. But the people below him, they do not enjoy immunity. And let me tell you something. There is nothing that gets a federal judge more angry and more likely to impose serious sanctions on someone than the belief that their order has been intentionally flouted. Now, it is always possible that the Trump administration will fall back on the "we are incompetent, we are not intentionally willful," but I think there is real risk here. But we're in a whole new world. We're in a whole new world now of where Donald Trump and his people think that the law doesn't apply to them, and let's hope that the judiciary stands tough.
Mark, I should note that the first place that I read about this was in Democracy Docket, which is the news outlet you founded to focus on everything voting elections, before Legacy Media. So not only did this story break faster on Democracy Docket than Legacy Media, but obviously Democracy Docket is one of the outlets that is actually meeting the moment with the urgency that it deserves in this time period, not just kowtowing to Donald Trump. So 2 reasons for folks who are watching right now to go ahead and sign up for Democracy Docket. I'll put the link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. And of course, we will continue to follow this story as we have any updates or as the press secretary continues to undermine the White House in this perpetual battle here. I'm Brian Teller.
And if I could just add one point to that, it's nice what you say about Democracy Docket, but the Legacy Media is really unbelievable. I know I have spent a lot of time criticizing them. You and I have talked about where they are not meeting the moment, but the New York Times. Okay, the New York Times, the one that, the folks who make the puzzles and the games and the recipes, but the one who everyone says is, still standing tall. They, this morning, said, and I quote, "The new administration is quickly demonstrating that it does not intend to be bound by legal niceties or traditional checks and balances in its relationship with Congress." I'm sorry, legal niceties?
Is that a different way of saying the law?
The law, right? I mean, like here it is, the paper of record, unable to say that Donald Trump is breaking the law. That's right. What it means, everyone, when you do not obey the legal niceties. It means that you are violating the law. So then you wonder, Brian, as we do these videos and people say, well, how is it possible that Donald Trump's, press secretary issued this statement in contradiction of what a judge had just said, or that you and I have to speculate that maybe they won't follow the law? Well, the Legacy Media has given them a roadmap. It's given them a free pass here. So I appreciate the call out for Democracy Docket and thank you. And obviously the work that you do every day is critical to this. But man, if the Legacy Media can't say that violating the law is violating the law, you wonder why Donald Trump feels like he has permission structure.
Right. Well, again, all of that underscores the importance of supporting good, fearless journalism these days. So put the link to Democracy Docket right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. I'm Brian Teller Cohen.
I'm Mark Elias.
This is Democracy Watch.